Well, hello and welcome, everybody. Do sort of start introducing yourself in the chat so I get a sense of who has come to this session. I'm really pleased you're here. Ellie's going to help us with the PowerPoint presentation, which I assume is on, but I can't see it yet either. Ellie, is the PowerPoint on? Thank you. I wasn't sure about the necklace. That's really helpful. Thank you. So welcome. This session is on Revive and Thrive, post-COVID well-being at work. And I think it's really, important for us to think about our well-being at this time. We only have 20 minutes, so it's going to be a little bit of a whistle-stop tour. And it's also going to be an interactive session. So I would like people to interact using the chat where they can. And by the end of the session, I am hoping people will have maybe not all the tools they need, but enough tools to go away and create either an aid memoir for themselves, or something they'll put on their WhatsApp, or something that they'll put on their fridge, or something they'll put on their screen. So one of the things I want to do very quickly, I've started seeing people's names, which is lovely. It's always nice to have a little icebreaker. So what I'd like people to do is just beginning with the first initial of their name, just put a word there that's what they consider to be something really positive. So don't overthink it. Just, first initial from your name. And I'm not picking on you, but you're the last name there. Just something beginning with E sounds positive to yourself. Perfect. Thank you, Christine. Any more? Sunshine, fantastic. Sunshine, any more? Happy, brilliant. Supportive, yep. Excitement, yep. Fantastic. Hopeful. Enthusiasm. Luscious, I love that. Fantastic words. Ellie, do you want to move on to the next slide, please? So a little bit about me as we look through those words. I'm all those words, every word you put there, I am, even though my name starts with A and sometimes with an N. So I won't say too much because the biopic is there and you can read this. But I'm a consultant in public health. The two things I think I want to highlight is one of the things we all have to do, and I think all the speakers talked about it, is this whole adapting to change, problem solving, having to look through things really quickly. And one of my key skills is really navigating complexity, and an area which is something we always have in public health, and an area I'm very interested in is all about our resilience, enabling us to really get mastery over difficult situations, excel forward, and continue to be able to bounce back. Next slide, please. So over the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I'm hoping we'll reflect on our emotional and well-being over these last few months, what helped, what didn't, how we might begin to have encouraging conversations with colleagues at work. That's not to say we haven't been doing that, but the lenses through which I'm looking at this session is, imagine your organization has said to you, we're really interested in health and well-being. We want you to give us something that we can either put on the intranet or we can put on everybody's desk to just help them remember to be, think about their well-being. And we also want you to be able to have a conversation with the colleague. So this is an interactive session as I've already mentioned. Next slide, please. So yes, it's been a difficult year. I think been alluded to in many ways, even if we weren't talking about well-being or psychological health. But 1 year on, now we're looking to restore, to revive, and to do all those brilliant words that you've put in the chat. So as we are now in 2021, it's already April. We look to, as I said, restoring and reviving and looking back at it, but also looking forward and being present. So how we do all three is going to be interesting. Next slide, please. Okay, so I hope I've set the scene. I know I've done it relatively quickly, but we will spend the next 10 minutes, if you're happy to work with me on this, is just thinking about some of the different states that we've been feeling over the last year. What I'd like people to do is I've put 9 different feelings, states there. And if people could just pick two using the numbers, just please put it in the chat. Just let's just see all where we were, you know. So I've got fearful, number one, grief, overwhelmed. Just over the year, some people might still be feeling it now. That might be a combination. 4 and 5, stressed and fed up. I can relate to that. Yep. Fearful and anxious. Yep. Sad. Yes. Number 9. Yep. And I put the emojis there as well. I probably haven't picked the right ones, but those are what those emojis say to me. 2 and 3, feeling grief and overwhelmed. Yes. And we felt grief at many levels. Grief for loved ones, grief for our holidays, grief for our things we our normal life. 77777. Yes. Yes. And part of what we're hoping today is do some of that self-reflection and start thinking about some of the self-care. Are there any more? What I will be doing later is I'm going to try to create a visual, and I will use some of the things in the chat, which we can't do now, because it's just, you know, technology is not as easy, but I will have something at the end that I can share. So I don't know if anybody wants to say anything, just 20 seconds, probably have 1 or 2 people just say something about how they're feeling if they want to. And Ellie will help us unmute whoever wants to speak. We're feeling quite proud. Excellent. Would anybody like to say anything? Because I can't see people. You will. So Ellie, can we unmute Laura, please? Just quickly tell us about how you've been feeling. Yeah. Has Laura been unmuted yet? Well, it doesn't look like that's possible, Laura. I thought it was. Thank you. Laura, can you able to ask to join the video call and then just say something? While we're doing that, I'm looking there in the chat, trying to hang in there for some more normality. Thank you. So Laura's on.
You can all see my awful background, sorry. I suppose feeling overwhelmed is probably what most colleagues are, but extremely proud of being working in public health and having the opportunity to support some of our partners in our local community. So it is that mixed emotions, isn't it?
Yes, yes, and that's coming out. It is the mixed emotions and so a little bit of the fear of the past and also the fear of what's going to be happening going forward. So just thinking about some of those, what I'd like us to think about next, if we can move on to the next slide, thank you for doing that, is also thinking about colleagues, because if you remember, this is about ourselves and also how we can, you know, support colleagues through this time in terms of having positive mental health. So when you think about colleagues, do you feel that you've been able to support them? Again, I've put sort of 5 different things there that seem to be quite, you know, quite common. And how often do you get to speak to them? And I think from what we can see in the chat, this has been a bittersweet type situation. It's been good in some regard, depending on one's personality. It's been stressful in one regard. Professionally, it's been the same. And do you still feel engaged with your colleagues? I've asked the question, how often do you, and well, actually, have you had a chance to speak with them? Lovely. Some ideas are coming through. Again, in the chat, just say some of what you've been able to do. Yes, there is the struggle to engage virtually. Yeah, and the WhatsApp has been a good tool. So other people, when you think about colleagues, weekly online. Oh, well done. Face-to-face once in December. Did you go to a park? Or how did you manage that? Was it in the office? Okay, well, what I'm going to go on to next, please still put your thoughts in the chat. I'm going to just show you a few posters, a few tools, a few, not tools, a few aids that people have used. So if we go on to the next few slides, we're going to go through those quickly. I'm going to talk about some of the things people have been doing that we know work. We've all heard about the 5 ways to well-being: give, learn, connect, take notice, be active. So the connect fits in very well, doesn't it, with the how we engage with colleagues. The give is time. There's many different ways. Some people have used daily meditation, different things. Some people have turned to their faith. Some have used nature. Some people have just found self-help, audio books, voice pods, podcasts. I've developed something I call a moment of value. So I say these things every week. I put them out there. And some people have just really embraced self-care and really looked after themselves. Next slide, please. And these are just some examples of different things and different visual aids and different ways that we can, I've put this as things that we might possibly be able to either make for ourselves or look for. There's different things on the internet. I haven't got copyright for many, but I've put them on there, There's a 21-day self-love challenge. There's posters that talk about connecting with others. There's the employee mental health wellness list. Those are affirmation cards. Next slide, please. We're just going to go through the slides quickly. So lots of examples. The one with the head has the 5 ways to well-being. There's 10 steps, 15 tips, just different things that people have found useful. And I can see lots coming out in the chat. Excellent. Next slide, please. And that's some more. Improve your mental health. And this one I particularly like. Self-care, just reminding oneself there's work on your hobbies. There's the whole public health one about physical activity, eat and drink well, screen time, sleep, thinking about working from home. So those are some different tools and different posters that are out there. But I've put that there just to get us thinking about the different things. And I can see some really, really good examples coming through in the chat. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So a few more. Listening. So what I'd like you to think about now, just ignore opening page on that. If you remember, the scenario is you want to create something for yourself, depending on how you like things. I say visual. What I mean is something you can see, as opposed to and if you're somebody who likes to touch things, you could do that way. So in the chat for yourself, and this is where your commitment and your time comes in, and there's lots of lovely examples in there. I would like you to just think about 2 things for your self-care that you will make a note of. 2 next steps for yourself, for your self-care, that you'll go away from either from the chat or from what you've seen on the screen, and you'll start to do, and think about 2 you'll do with a colleague. Put it in the chat. And also, if you have a postcard or a note, or you like things on your phone, begin to create something that you can go away with and continue, that you can make your own visual aide de memoire, whatever you choose to call it. So I'll give you time to do that. I'll give people time to go and get a postcard or their phone or whatever, or a stone or whatever they like, and just begin to put that down. Are you happy to do that? Just a few yeses, or start it in the chat. You've got the next, excuse that sound, got the next, 3-4 minutes to do that. Perfect. So I'll let people, do, yeah, excellent. Be kinder to yourself. Brilliant. And also, when you say that, Christine, just pick something that you will, when you're doing it, you'll know, yes, I am being kinder to myself. For me, I put lunchtime walks in my calendar throughout my calendar for work, because yes, I thought I must stop when I'm working. So just think of some things like that and put them for yourself. And what I will do, and get a I've said a postcard, but that's just a way to describe. It could be a post-it, it could be a scarf you like, it could be a notice board, but let's get that commitment. So and the other idea I have is of a value bank. And I say that if we tap into our own value and appreciate and understand that we are of value, we have values and we add value, and we understand that we can put all of that and put it in something I call a value bank. And if we continue feeding into our value bank, that will help our resilience. I phrase it as our value, enhanced over our value diminished is what the value we retain, and that's what feeds into our whole resilience. And all the things you put, even the fact that we all have names, the first letters are all positive, very positive words. We could put all of those into our value bank. So thank you for all these points you're putting in there. Think about writing them down on a piece of paper for yourself. Brilliant. Yes, smile file. Excellent. That's really good. And then now, if you want to think about a colleague, so think about the colleague. You don't have to put their name in here, maybe put their initial, and think about what you're going to go and do with them next and when. Again, if you could put that in the chat. What I'm going to try to do without using the names is I'm going to create something. I don't know if you can see it. To use this framework to develop some sort of poster from this session that I will send round. And there's a big box that says, considering the experience, what people have gone through, I'll fill that in. And then there's this for three things, either as a one-off that we could do with colleagues or in the workplace. And then this one is a box that just begins to say, the how and the what we might do. So I'm happy to do that and send that round based on this, so we don't lose all these really fantastic ideas. But what about colleague? So colleagues just looking out for people and listening. Yep. But if you think about one colleague, because what we would want to do is really actualize this. So I've said colleague because we've said at work. So just if you have a think, I think one of the things I did was to get a WhatsApp group and start, and I got their permission at the beginning of it to ask, do you guys want me to put things that just make us think about things? And they said yes. And then we also shared pictures and photographs, and people went on holiday. And of course, there's one colleague who I think, if I'm feeling very stressed, I just call and say, can we talk through this thing I'm trying to do for work? So we find different ways. Excellent. Yes. So, and I hope on your postcard you've put, yes, brilliant, fantastic, CNV, CNL, and the when, don't forget to put the when. Brilliant, the when, so we commit to it. We've just got a minute left. If we could go to the last slide, please. I think that's the last slide. And if we just all stop for a bit and just think about the words we put against our initials at the start. I want you to leave here feeling inspired, feeling very good about yourself, and really beginning to visualize your aid memoir and the postcard, or whatever you're going to put it on your screen or your mirror, that we're all going to go away from today with, feeling very resilient and our value bank for. I was hoping to have somebody say something for the last 20 seconds. So if somebody wants to say anything, just share with us. Just bear with us for 20 seconds more. Who would like to do it? If you put your name, I think you just ask for approval. Thank you, Helen. So it'd be nice if somebody from the group just, said something and then we closed. Anybody feeling brave? Just click the share and yeah, please join me on the screen. It'd be nice to just have a last. I haven't seen anybody yet. I know backgrounds are dodgy, but you could just do it very quickly, just so I feel as if first I want to thank you guys actually, because even though I've only seen Laura, I have felt the connection and I have felt that we've all been here together. Thanks, Laura.
Awful background, sorry, Nike.
I can't see the background. And we could, so yeah, just say some finishing words and then off we go. Thank you.
I think it's been really, really good to just take some time out and just acknowledge some of those feelings that we've all gone through and the positives that are coming out.
Thanks. Enjoy your break and catch you next time.